Hi, this is Chris from Guitarist Magazine and Andertons Music. I'm here at Namm 2015 with Greg and Pete, two of the co-founders of Strymon. So guys, I guess it's been something of a journey. I wondered if you could just wind the clock back a little bit and tell us all about it.
Sure. In about 2004, we started damage control engineering, and we had some pedals that tube distortion pedals and some digital processors with tubes in them. About 2009, we kind of took some of the lessons we learned, what people liked about those pedals, what they didn't like, and kind of had a reboot under the Strymon brand. And they've been well received. We started off with the smaller form factor, what we like to call the 5-knob pedals, and then the timeline. My wife calls them the big knobs.
Even though the knobs are smaller.
Even though the knobs are smaller.
But there's more of
them. Obviously these are all, except for the OB1, all digital signal processing chips, which Pete is the DSP guru that kind of really crafts the sounds, and I do the hardware to actually get some physical board to work with.
Okay.
And then the other founder, Dave, handles kind of the system software to actually make the menus work and the knobs turn and everything, so Pete can focus on all the sound development.
Okay, so for the viewers at home, just really simple. He's a digital guy, he's the analog guy.
That's great.
Yeah, cool. Right. One of the things I'd like to talk about a little bit is the Deco pedal, because obviously that's
Sure.
the most recent thing that you guys have put out, and we reviewed it in the mag, absolutely loved it, and did a demo where we used it with guitar, with bass, with drums, and even vocals, and it just sounded absolutely amazing on everything. And I think one of the things that I personally really liked about it is that there may be a hell of a lot of sophisticated digital stuff going on under the hood, but if you look at that as a guitar player, it's just so direct and so simple.
Sure.
And obviously there's stealth controls, with different modes, but it does. I don't think it intimidates technophobe guitarists, and you've only got to look at maybe like the gear page, or to see how many people are using your units. And,
Sure.
But I wondered if I'd like to talk a little bit about maybe some of the inspiration behind effects like the Deco, so those old analog units, and what kind of turned you onto that stuff in the first place?
Well, I think every pedal has a little bit of a different journey. I think the Deco really didn't start out the way it ended up, and I think that the first inspiration was, what would a tape flanger sound like? So
right.
Pete he kind of said, well, okay, if I need a tape flanger, I need to get 2 tape decks set up here, so then I can have one of them flange against the other. And then by the time he created this system in DSP, his brain's spinning and thinking, well, now if the delay's a little longer, if I do this, and now it just kind of keeps iterating. And I think one of the luxuries that we have as the owners and engineers is that there's no schedule, like no, you got to be done at this point. It's kind of like, well, hey, you got something cool, keep running with it till we feel like it becomes the product that we want, the product that we would want to play.
Yeah.
And one of the challenges I think we have with all of our digital pedals is that the possibilities with a digital system are kind of endless. But as guitar players, we want that immediate feel of that it feels it feels analog. That you grab a knob and you turn it, and Pete spends a lot of time. Contouring how as the user's experience, as you turn a knob, with an analog pedal like the OB1, when you turn one knob, it does one thing in the circuit. But we have the luxury of a digital system that we can control multiple parameters of the sound, so that as you sweep, a lot of stuff can be going on that the user doesn't have to know about. But
Yeah.
in the end, they get that experience of more detailed sound.
And so, I guess from the outside looking in, you would assume that it's easier to create one of these than it is one of these, just because there appears to be a lot more going on, in the bigger boxes, or the big knobs, as you as you call them. But So what are the challenges when it comes to maybe incorporating more effects and more functionality into a bigger box unit?
Well, I mean, there is some more hardware. Obviously, you get a display and some more knobs, and that's challenging, but fairly straightforward. I think really it's in something like a timeline where you have 12 different positions and all the things that go into each one. It can, the filter knob in each setting can be different. The grit knob can do something a little bit different, and Pete really has that completely blank slate to really craft each sound. So that, I guess, the challenge is deciding when you're done, and what features are critical, and balancing adding features and also keeping it simple. That we want that experience that we're going to leave out some of the possible things that could be theoretically done, because we don't feel like the user is going to have the right experience.
Sure, yeah. So Pete, as the DSP guy, what has been the hardest sound to nail, the hardest analog sound to nail in the digital world?
They each present a unique challenge. I think we spent a lot of time on the tape saturation effect of Deco, and in doing that research, one thing we weren't interested in doing was to try to clone a particular unit. We wanted to really try to extract what are the processes that are going on that create the warmth and the magic of tape.
Sure.
And apply that in a way that can be translated to a musical guitar effect, but not just for guitarists. And so that was a good challenge, because there is analog tape that's about as analog as you can get in the general scheme of things. So I'd say that probably was the one that created a kind of a unique challenge to us.
Cool. And obviously you guys have got a very comprehensive range now. Would you be able to give us any indication of what you might be working on next, or even a hint, the slightest clue for the guys back home?
Well, probably nothing too much as to what's next, other than there will be more things next. There are lots of possibilities, and that's always part of the challenge, is to find out something that that excites us, that we feel is a good direction to focus our energies on. And we do have a few more stones that are left that are unturned at this point. So we're still always at the drawing board to see what's next.
Excellent. And I guess as well, seeing these units sat here on this really rather nice pedal board, who was that made by again?
Salvage Custom.
So Salvage Customs worth getting a shot of. That's really nice.
Sure.
But doubtless will be aware of the move towards miniaturization in effect.
Sure.
I mean, this week we've seen the tiny crybaby, the tiny tube screamer. Have you thought about maybe a different form factor, which is even smaller for those guys who like a nano board?
Yes, I mean, we do have some limitations. If we got to open one of these up, the DSP chip and the memory and the other stuff it's challenging to miniaturize as opposed to an analog circuit. But the space constraints on a pedal, it's kind of like, well, I've got a distance here, and if I can't pull the knobs too close, because then I'm going to step on it. So we're kind of constrained here, and you can say, all right, well, this is sort of, at least for us, a magic distance that we can't push them too close together, because you're going to step on it. So we have looked at some smaller sort of single foot switch topologies, and that'll probably happen at some point. Also challenging, like with the delay pedal. Really want to tap tempo. It's with a single switch. Now a tap tempo becomes much more of a challenge. So that is one of the things you have to overcome and say, all right, hey, I got a delay pedal. Oh, you lost your tap. Well, I guess that that's one of the design challenges that we constantly struggle with is the adding more knobs, adding more foot switches, adding more user controllability. But each time you do that, you cost you size.
Yeah.
So what are the key things that need to be accessible on the front? And we have some secondary functions that we try to think real hard about as to what's on the top level, what's beneath, because we want that user to have all the features that they might want, but also have the intuitive user experience.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for your time, guys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Thanks very much.
Thank
Cheers.
you.